journey together. Today we have a guest with us, as you can see.
Yeah, my name is Lubna, and I'm here to join the Girls on Their podcast today, which I'm very honored to be.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course. So we're super excited to have our first guest on the podcast. Today we're gonna talk about relationships in general, like friendships and romantic relationships. Just in general, how to like maintain a healthy relationship and how to know which kind of people you should have in your life. Because in our previous episodes, we've talked a lot about like how you shouldn't have anyone who's like draining you or not there for your highest best and so on. So we're gonna talk a little bit more about that in depth.
But when we talk about like friendships and romantic relationship, I think the most important thing will always be that you have someone in your life who's lifting you up and not dragging you down. So someone who will bring positivity to your life, and someone you can get inspired from, and someone who will like always just hype you up and make you feel like the best version of yourself. So that's very important when it comes to friendship. You are not supposed to have any friends that's like
Dragging you down.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have any friends that's dragging you down.
A lot of people, they just like kind of forget themselves, especially like I've seen, especially like with girls, and when it comes to like romantic love, it's like they forget everything about like their own values to please someone else.
But you also see that in like friendships.
With
girls that's trying
kind
to
of
be like other girls.
Like I think friendships is like worse because like, how can I explain? I think friendships is worse because people don't even realize it in friendships that it might be mentally draining you. Because I feel like on social media, people always talk about like how bad relationships are and this and this and that, but they don't ever talk about how friendships are and how that it can mentally drain you.
That's true.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too. Like, there's a lot of focus on relationships and what's a good relationship and what's not, like romantic. But people never talk about how important it is to work on your friendship as well. And just how you can work on a relationship, you can also work on your friendship and like communication and just everything in general.
And I also think that like one thing people forget these days is like, why do they forget not to work on themselves? There's this saying, you should love yourself before you love anyone else, not only in relationships, like but also in friendships. And I feel like a lot of people forget that you need to work on yourself first before you start like getting people into your life. You have to ask yourself, am I happy with the way I am as a human being? Am I happy as the way I am as a friend, as a partner, as a daughter, as a cousin?
Because also when you're like sure of yourself, you're not trying to be somebody else. You're not trying to go like please your friends and trying to be like them to fit into some kind of group.
It's funny that you're saying it, because I've been thinking so much about lately how when you're your authentic self, you also start to like attract people who like that version of you, if that makes sense. Like if you're not yourself and like you're changing, you're gonna attract friends who are that way as well, and then you're not yourself and you get friends. I don't know how to explain it.
That's also like why you just should be yourself. Because you don't want anybody who does not like your authentic self. And I've seen it like in my own life. Like I really started to be like 100% just like unapologetically myself. And I've also seen like I already met people who match it. Like as soon as I did it, like in 1 month, like it happened so quick, you don't even realize it. And it was like I didn't even know that people who thought like me existed here in where I live in this small country. Like I thought it was only like in the US or in the UK and so on. But then like as soon as you just start being yourself, you start meeting those people. Like you just align. And then you may outgrow some other people, and that's okay. Like sometimes you're meant to be friends for a certain period of time, and then you grow apart, and that's okay. And that's just life.
It's alright to grow apart. It's alright to like I think the most mature thing to do is actually realize that you might not be, I wouldn't say vibing, but like vibing with the same person that you used to do.
Because if you grow or become a better person than you were when you were like with that person.
100%. I've had a lot of friends personally that like I outgrew throughout the years, and it's not like that we hate each other. No. Like we see each other, we say hi, but we just have different interests in life.
That's okay.
That's so fair.
I think people forget, like especially after high school, you might think that they might be your friends forever. I think everyone in their life has a different path. And sometimes when your paths don't align, it's just, you're gonna outgrow each other.
Yeah, and you don't have to force it to work. Like if you are on completely different paths, it's okay. Like, you don't have to have bad blood in between you. You don't have to have like a huge fight to end it. Like, it's okay to say like we're not aligning anymore.
Sometimes you just don't even have to say it. Sometimes it just happens naturally.
Yeah,
it
and
does.
you just stop talking.
You just stop talking.
Like, it just happens.
Yeah.
You can always check up on each other though. Yeah. I have a friend that I check up on every once in a while. That doesn't mean that like we're as close as we used to be, but we are like
you still care about the
You still
person,
care. You still care about the person.
Sometimes it's also just like the interests that change.
Sometimes you, let's just say you don't talk for 2 years, and then 2 years after you start talking again and you become even closer. Sometimes having a little bit of space is the key to actually make a relationship work.
And also like we grow like all the time, every single day, you know, so maybe, I mean, we could grow apart and then you could both like work on yourself and then like get back together.
Exactly. And that's why you shouldn't have any bad blood if nothing really happened and you just grew apart, because that's okay. And when you're aligning again, you will find each other again if it's meant to be. So
for sure.
I agree.
If it's meant to be, it will be.
Honestly,
I think friendships are beautiful because it's people you choose to have in your life,
and
that's why you should only choose people who are like lifting you.
Good,
Like why would you, if it's some like your family you're not choosing, like, but your friends, why would you choose a bad friend or a bad partner? You are choosing it.
You're literally you're.
And that's one thing you realize later. I mean, when I was younger, obviously didn't think about who were your friend. It just kind of happened. Now that I'm older, I am always like, I'm very cautious of who I'm friends with. And honestly, I don't really like having a lot of friends. I think
me neither.
I like having a small circle.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't mind having a big circle if they were all lifting me up in a better way and inspiring me. That would be fine. True. But I still think that having a few close friends is like the ideal, and then you can have friends for maybe other things when you want to like go have fun or travel,
or like go out not for a specific reason.
I feel like you have friends for different reasons. Like
I mean, there are the close friends, and then there are the friends that you're just like, I mean, we wouldn't say close, we're just like friends. And there's nothing wrong with just being friends.
The most important is just that they don't drag you down. Like
100%.
I may have a friend in my life who I'm with when like I want to have fun, like, and travel and stuff, but she may not be my closest friend that I spill my secrets to, and that's okay. And then you have another friend who you can spill your secrets to, but you may not you don't do
other things with
and that's okay. Like, you have friends for different purposes.
Exactly.
For me personally, I'm just like, when I have friends, like I need to be able to tell them everything without any judgment. Of course, guidance, but without any judgment. Because if that's the case, then we just can't be friends. And that's why I'm so happy that I have a small circle, because I really do believe that I have the best of friends. I've been very lucky in life, in my opinion, when it comes to friendships. So it's about like being able to be friends with someone without them judging you and dragging you down.
But that's the thing, like, you should only have friends in your life who are loving you unconditionally as you are and not judging you. They may not agree with what you're doing in a certain situation. They can give you advice, but they should never judge you, or you should never be like conflicted about their role in your life. You should be 100% that this person like loves being a friend with me as much as I love being their friend. Like, it has to be like a good mix. It cannot be that you're trying to like get their validation or trying to change for them or so on, and then it's not a healthy friendship. Like,
I think also friends who are like bad influences is also never a good thing. Like,
never.
To try to make you do stuff you don't want to.
Yeah, and that's, your friend should want the absolute best for you. So if you see that someone is doing that, they're not.
But that's also why you sometimes just have to distance yourself, you know, even though you want to be friends with someone, but like they're doing very bad things. Then you just have to say, okay, I don't want to be like a part of those things. I mean, I really like that person, but I don't like the lifestyle of that person. Then you can also distance yourself and be like,
then you can also just like go out for a cup of coffee sometimes and just
or you can try to like keep it.
Me like socializing in high school especially was very hard, because like I don't party or all that stuff, and my whole class at the time, all they did was party. So I felt very lonely.
But that's where you have to not be friends with people just to be friends with
them.
That's
like, one thing I realized.
That's not my people, and you're just gonna continue being you, and your people will find you, and they will, I promise. Like, and those old people will outgrow. I kind of see romantic relationships like friendships, because I feel like it's the same, like communication, like keeping your promises, like just in general, like being a good human being with another person.
But there's a little more to it.
Of course, it's like, different. Like because when you're in a relationship, you're just with that one person. Like you can have multiple friends, but I think like it comes down to the same. Like I think you can learn from a friendship some things that you can bring into your relationships, like
for sure
communicating or being honest. I also kind of compare it to friendships in that way. Like let's say I have a friend that I really just am like completely myself with, like my inner child is free, like there's nothing like really awkward or anything. Like I want that same from a future husband. Like in that way I compare it. Like if being with him doesn't feel like being with my best friends and just having fun and so on, like what's the point?
It should be even better.
Or even better, like
you're gonna spend the rest of your life with this man.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what we all
want. A lot
of
people are just so formal with their partner, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I have to eat nicely, oh, I have to do this and that. Like
if you're gonna live with that person,
I think in the beginning it's fine.
But like it's not gonna continue.
It's not gonna continue forever.
You're gonna live together. You know, you're gonna have children together. You're gonna like do anything
you gotta
together.
Like really be completely yourself to see if this person will like that. You know what I mean? Like there's no reason to hide anything. Like just
No, I mean 100%. I mean, listen. That's the base point. And I feel like so many people these days, when they find a partner, they try to change the partner.
Yes.
And if I don't want my husband or man or whatsoever to post on social media, then I wouldn't go after a guy who posts on social media.
Yeah.
I can't just like go after the guy and be like, hey, I don't want you to do this and this and that.
You want to be with me?
You want to be with me?
That's the thing. If you want to be with someone, don't try to change them. We see like a lot of guys, they complain about how a girl is dressing. Okay, but why did you approach her when she's dressing that way? Then go and find a girl who's covering up if you want a girl who's covering up. Like in that way, I mean, like you cannot, those things you cannot change about
No, because it's fair to have those.
It's fair to have those beliefs. I completely understand like why some guys want their women to cover up, but then like
just don't
I feel like
for a girl who's not,
a lot of people forget. I'm not just talking about men over here, like even girls. There's this saying, you meet in the middle. So let's just say you meet a really nice guy and you're like wearing openly dresses and he doesn't like it. Then you can be like, okay, listen, I'm not gonna change it 100%. I'm gonna meet you in the middle. You get me?
But I also think it depends on how important that is to you. Like let's say you're an influencer and you meet a guy who doesn't wants you to post on social media. That completely changes your life. Like you should never change that. Then you're getting manipulated. Like that's but if you're a person who doesn't really care about posting and you don't want to be an influencer, then it might not matter to you and then you can change it. You know what I mean?
If it's like small things that doesn't really matter anything.
But then you also have to be 100% sure that it's because you really don't care about it, not just because he's saying it, because then it starts to be
I feel like a lot of girls, like when they're in love, like let's just say they have this, if we have to talk about like the whole influencing stuff, they do really care about it and it's been their dream, let's just say forever, since they were like a little kid. But because like you're so in your head, you're in love with this person and you're like in this whole like fantasy about the one is the one and all that you might just do it to please the other person, and it might not bother you at first. But think about it like 10 years after. The one is the one in your head. Like you're in this fantasy, you're like, you want to please this person, you don't want to lose them.
So you're putting them on a pedestal.
Because you love the person so much, so it's hard for you to let go of the person.
And it's like,
I'm gonna eat while I'm doing this.
That's also why I really like put a lot of emphasis on working on yourself and just like being very secure of who you are, because when you're so secure about who you are, it's gonna be harder for someone to manipulate. Actually, I saw something on TikTok. It was like, when you see potential in others, it's because it's what you would do in their situation. So if we were in that guy's situation, we would have acted differently, and that's why we see that in him. But in reality, he doesn't have it in him. Like, and there's no reason to romanticize him.
I think when you grow up as hopeless of a romantic as I did, my parents have been together for like 27, 8 years. So like, and you grow up with like this healthy love and all that. That's all you actually really want. And when you meet a person and they're like their good qualities outweigh like the bad qualities, even though their bad qualities are like really, really bad, you start like, you kind of push them aside on purpose because you really want, you're desperate to make something work out. You're so desperate to make it work out. that you would do anything to try it. At some point, it is gonna end, and even if it works out in the future, if your other partner doesn't decide to like maybe change, it's not gonna work out.
Also, think like, as Lubna was saying, when you're with a person who's trying to change you, it may work in the beginning. You may like obey them and so on.
Obey them.
Yeah, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but to me it's crazy. Like, nah. Okay. Anyways, so let's say that you continue the relationship, but at some point it's gonna fall apart, because if it's
you're
not
also gonna realize like I am doing this for them.
If it's not based on your true self, it's gonna like it can never last. No. Like if it does, it's gonna be a miserable relationship. Like I used to romanticize the idea of getting married young. I just realized like I used to want to be married by 20, but I
thought it would be 8 when I was 7.
18 too. I'm not kidding. I want to have a child now.
I swear to God, I remember going to a wedding when I was 7, right?
Yeah.
And I told my Mama, when I turn 18, the first thing I'm gonna do is get married.
I was exactly the same way. I just started to have like a really different perspective on it. Like I completely changed my perspective on it, because I just feel like we're so young and we have so much to learn about ourselves, and I don't want to like waste my energy on another person when I can pour it into myself.
But if it's a 10 out of 10,
that's the thing. If you meet someone, and it happens for people, and I completely support them. If you meet someone who makes you better in every aspect and who just lifts you up and who really like just is an amazing person, and like then I think it's fine in a young age, because then like you cannot really decide when you meet your soulmate. No, like if I like right now I don't want to like be in a relationship, but if I meet someone who's like everything like my soulmate, I'm not gonna like deny it, because that's like I cannot change my destiny like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just don't focus so much on guys in this age. Like please, there's
you shouldn't focus on guys at all. Like
you should put that focus into yourself.
Even though if you feel like you're a very healthy version of yourself at, for example, 20, like we are 21, we still like can evolve even more. You know what I mean? And I feel like if I met someone now, I wouldn't be my ideal version of myself, so I wouldn't attract an ideal partner. Does that make sense? Maybe he would be a good partner, but the better I am, the more I work on myself, the higher up my frequency is gonna go, and a higher partner I'm gonna attract. There's just so much more to life. Like I couldn't even imagine like spending time on a guy. Like really like, and I know like I do want to get married young. I will put time aside one day, but just not right now. Like I want to stabilize or make my life stable now. You have to have so much going on for yourself that guys is not like a priority until you meet the one who deserves it.
I believe in something. There's this thing in Arabic, nasib. I think we've all heard about it.
Destiny.
It's destiny written, and that everything happens when the timing is right. And sometimes you are gonna meet people who are like gonna fuck you up mentally, like said very directly. That was a bit brutal said, but in some ways they can be the gateway to you growing yourself as a person. So it's fine. It happens for a reason.
For self-improvement and so on. And I think that's okay.
Like, everything happens for a reason. Like every person you meet in your life is there for a reason.
And honestly, the biggest thing you have to see, whether it's a loss from a friendship, from a relationship, take your time to heal. Please. If you try to distract yourself from something, it's just gonna bite you in the ass.
And also, let's say that you got out of a relationship and you directly like jump into a new one without healing. You're gonna take the same flaws 100%. With you, and you're gonna maybe be with a person who's not healthy either, because you didn't take that time to work on yourself.
You have to heal.
Yeah, I think
healing takes time. Like you cannot just.
And I think what I just really want to like tell girls out there is just don't obsess so much over relationships and guys, and just put all that energy into yourself. And when you're a good version of yourself, you're gonna attract a good partner.
It's gonna come.
And I get that you grow together and so on. That's completely okay. Like you grow all the time. It's not like you can be fully the best version and then meet your partner. No, you always evolve. But you just have to be somewhere. You have to have some sort of confidence before you go into a relationship. Some sort of self-love. Some sort of self-respect before you can like share that with another partner.
The happiest people I've seen in relationships are the ones who like met when it like least expected. Like it wasn't forced, it just happened.
People are so focused on like finding a partner that they take anything. Like they become so desperate. And
when that's what you want, you
don't see the flaws. And it's like when you're just comfortable in yourself and in your life without a partner, you're not gonna accept anything unless it takes you up. You know what I mean? Unless it's a 10 out of 10 really. And with 10 out of 10, I mean spiritually, not look-wise.
When you're in a relationship, I feel like you have to really think about the partner's needs, and I feel like so many people forget that. That when you're with someone romantically, now I'm not talking about friendships, even though friendship kind of has a thing to do with it, you have to think about, okay, I made my partner upset. How can I not do it again? What can I do to prevent it? Instead of like going back and forth and arguing and defending yourself.
No, but that's actually for friendships as well, just in general, or even with your mom, with your dad. Like in general, when you have a problem with a person and you want to solve it, you have to see the problem as we're solving this together, not I'm trying to solve this for me. You know what I mean? Because then you will just attack each other and it's never gonna work. You have to be like, okay, we're finding a solution for this and not just throwing bricks at each other. And you have to learn that skill before you come into a relationship.
If you keep going on self-defense mode, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Worst part is when someone tells you they have a problem with you, don't ever bring up something that you've been keeping in. If you have a problem with someone with their behavior, say it directly. Don't wait until you poke the bear.
Exactly.
And I'm so bad at that actually.
But
like,
that's
I'm
actually
so many people have communication problems.
But that's a huge thing in friendships too.
Yeah.
Like if you have a problem with something that your friend does, say it. Like they may not see it the same way, and if they're just defending themselves, they're not really a good friend. Like they will try to solve the issue with you as well. And if they're not, it's just showing that the friendship doesn't mean a lot to them, or that they're just not ready to.
They're just not there.
They're just there. Yeah, they have some inner work to do and so on. And people's inner work, you can help them as much as you want, but if they're not ready to change themselves,
it has to come from themselves.
They are not going to change, and you're not responsible for that.
If you meet a good person, male, female, whatever, then be a good person to them. If you know you can't be the person for them, just leave them alone.
Do you know, have you ever noticed how so many people, both guys and girls, they're like, men and women, they're like, oh, I only meet bad partners. Okay, but let's start to look within, what can I do to not be in that situation? Because if you're with a bad partner, usually it's because you have something to work on yourself. You're accepting things that you shouldn't accept. Like a lot of girls, let's say they see a guy who's following girls. They're like, oh no, let me prove myself for him to like me more than them. No, be disgusted that he follows so many girls and become unattracted to him. Like there's so many things you can do to prevent yourself from falling for this guy. It all comes down to your head. Like it really does.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be falling for a guy. Like
I think
like in the beginning, like
when you kind of like, especially I feel like girls who are like have never really like been in relationships before. I feel like they just romanticize someone and they're like, the one is the one, and I can change him, and he's gonna be better, and I'll maybe if I'll give him this, he'll love me more. Maybe I'll show more and more and more love.
You should never have to try to prove yourself.
I think like a girl's first love will always be the worst.
Yeah, 100%.
That's gonna be like the person they don't really know better, you know, because it's the first one. They're gonna fall for them. They're gonna try.
But that's where they hopefully learn from it.
Yeah,
so
exactly. But I always think like a girl's first love is gonna be the hardest one to just, or also the one that's gonna.
It also depends what age you're in.
Yeah, but I think but you're gonna learn a lot from that. Like, it's gonna be.
I think eventually, like, girls will move on and like see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
They will, of course, they will.
They will.
They always will.
They will.
That's another thing. So with breakups, let's say you're breaking up with a partner, I actually think it's a beautiful thing because it's kind of like a rebirth. Like when you break up with someone, you completely like just put all the energy into yourself, and you're like, okay, but who am I as a person? Because so many times your partner's like thoughts influence you, and they kind of manipulate you in a way. Like, okay, is it because I don't like the shirt, or because he's telling me not to wear it? Like you kind of become like confused, but then as soon as you break up and you're just like completely yourself, you just realize, who am I? What do I want with my life? And you also realize that there's so much more to life than guys. Like it's just, I think it's beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
I haven't been through a breakup, but honestly, I kind of wouldn't mind.
So excited.
I feel like it would be fun to like.
Me too.
Yeah, like I mean, I know it's hard, but I just feel like you can change so much in your mindset that makes it easier.
The first one might fuck you up, but the next one might be even better at like treating you and giving you more love. Like my friend, I had a friend who was actually in this relationship, and he obviously wasn't treating her that well, and at some point she just had enough.
Yeah.
And I would say maybe 2 years later, she's happily married and have a wonderful husband.
That's also because she realized, I don't want to put up with this anymore. Like, if she had acted differently and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to take whoever comes next, like, and didn't have that self-respect, she would keep being in that cycle. Like, your friend did something, some kind of inner work, and she set some boundaries for her to be able to attract a good partner in her life. So it all comes down to how you like deal with the situation. And if you're a person who keeps going back to a guy who cheated on you, you're putting yourself in that situation. Like, you know what
I mean, I think the worst thing you can do when someone cheats on you, that is comparing yourself to the woman that he cheated on you with,
because it's a problem inside of him.
Yeah,
since
he's
100%. Because then you might start looking at her. What did she have that I didn't have?
It's like, no,
that's where you take the power back and put yourself on a pedestal and think,
and you say bye-bye.
Yeah, this guy had some inner issues and that's not my problem.
But here's the thing, I feel like about cheating, right? Like, if you truly, and I'm saying truly many times, if you truly love someone, you don't cheat on them, not because morally it's wrong, but because you don't want to hurt them.
And like, if you ever find yourself having to prove yourself or compare yourself to other girls or so on, it's not the right person.
It's not.
I don't care how many good qualities he has, it's not the right person. Your person should only lift you up. What point is there to be in a relationship if he doesn't lift you up? If you're consistently like sad and trying to solve your problems, like, what's the point?
Like, immediately.
When you go through a heartbreak, it's so beautiful at the same time, because like you said, it's the rebirth of yourself. You might be lost in the beginning, but sooner or later you'll kind of like get back to yourself.
No, but I really see the beauty in it. It's like,
it is beautiful, for sure.
It's hurtful in the beginning, I can imagine.
Yeah, of course.
And then it'll be more beautiful, and then you'll be like the best version of yourself.
But that's the thing with everything. Like, humans seek comfort, and we always want to be comfortable. And if that relationship was comfortable to you, you stay in it.
Yeah, just going out of your comfort zone.
And realizing it's not that dangerous. I think a lot of people are scared to like go through a breakup and be sad, but okay, you're sad, but what happens when you're sad? You're gonna get up again. Like, it's not the end of the world.
Because I think some of them have the whole mentality, well, if I leave him, I'm sad.
But you're also sad with him.
But you're also sad with him.
Like, that's true.
You're gonna choose
you're sad without him, and
that's the thing. When he's doing more bad than he's doing good, you're gonna be affected, and you're gonna be sad with him by your side. But you can also just choose to walk out of the situation, be sad for a period of time, and then you're gonna be good again at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like selfish people are the worst kind of people to be with, because they really truly don't give a fuck about anyone else but themselves.
Yeah, but then that person shouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah, but they don't. A person doesn't always show their true colors in the beginning. Sometimes they like the validation of, like, I'm not just talking about men over here, men and women, they like the validation of being with someone and having someone knowingly that they would do anything for them.
Yeah, but that's a self-worth issue.
100%.
You see validation in another person, and then you just simply shouldn't be with that person. That's why
I think like when you seek validation from different human beings, it's a problem.
That's why my future husband, he has to be confident, because if he's not, maybe he will find validation in others, or he will
another woman.
Or he will be triggered when I don't call him like handsome one day or something. Like, you have to really be with a person who's truly confident in himself, and that's why you also gotta be
the most beautiful kind of love is when you both know that you love each other and would do everything for each other.
Yes, but not because your life would fall apart without them. Because you're so secure in your life, and you know this person adds to your life, and what you can learn from each other, that you wanna like.
You're gonna grow together. Yes. It's gonna be better for you to be with this man. You're gonna learn from this man, but you're also just gonna still be secure in yourself and be completely okay with just being yourself. But this man is always gonna like add on to the foundation that you already have.
Where relationships are healthy. Like, I feel like a lot of people just see relationships as struggle, as your life is changing once you get married and so on. But no, if it's the right person and a healthy relationship, it's
gonna change in a good way.
I don't get when people say that like marriage is a prison. Like, nobody's forced.
Then they're not gonna be a wrong person.
Yeah,
exactly. For real. Like,
I hate when people say that it's a prison.
With the right person.
It's a prison if you're in an unhealthy relationship and you're not like able to be yourself and all these things. Then yes, but then you have to see, okay, what am I doing wrong to be in this relationship? Or I'm not respecting myself enough. I'm not setting boundaries. You can always do something to improve your situation. Like, nobody forced you to be with this person. Like, you can do something about it.
You like chose to, so
yes,
you're the only one who can change that situation.
And I know it may sound harsh and so on, but it's just reality. Nobody's responsible for you. You have to like take care of your problems. And I'm saying this for everybody's own good. Like, you really have to take responsibility of your life, because no matter how sad you are and so on, it's just not an excuse.
You are the only one.
You're gonna keep being sad in that way, like,
and you like, and also just you're the one person that you're gonna spend the rest of your life with. I also think
people are so scared of being sad. Like, what happens if you're sad for a month, or maybe it's longer for some, but what happens if you're sad?
You're
not gonna die.
No, exactly. And there's also something like comforting in being sad, just feeling your emotions.
When you lose a person, like,
romanticize being sad.
Honestly,
breakup songs, like eat a whole ice cream. I think
you get to do those things.
I heard this beautiful quote, right? That like grief comes in waves.
Yeah.
And it does,
and sure. It does. Like, 1 minute you're fine, the next minute you're all crazy,
and
the next minute. And it's okay, because at some point the grief will stop. Mm-hmm. But also, remember one thing: out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, you gotta remove that person.
Remove that person completely.
You cannot be reminded of them.
You remember, have you ever seen like block on
TikTok.
Block on Facebook, block all WhatsApp. Block
everywhere. My cousin, she used to tell me that whenever she would like break up with a guy, she would imagine that he was dead. So whenever he would call her, she wouldn't pick up, because she's like, I cannot answer a dead person, can I? Like,
that's some other mentality.
I know it's next level, but like, you really gotta, don't be like, oh, let me just check his Instagram. No, you're gonna be completely thrown back to those feelings. Like, don't do this to yourself. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
You really gotta think, I'm my own best friend. Why would I put myself in this situation?
Yeah, for
period.
Sure.
As you should.
So true.
I also saw something on TikTok the other day. It was like, if your life was a movie and the audience were watching you, what would they scream at you to do in that situation?
Leave him!
Obviously, then leave him.
Life is beautiful.
Life is so beautiful.
And that's why you shouldn't waste them over no man. Like,
you said, like, when you're gonna be 70, you're gonna be 70 in 50 years. Life is going so fast.
Life is beautiful. Like, life is going by so fast.
Yeah. There's just so many things to life. Don't obsess so much over relationships with a partner. Like, put that focus into your friendships and into yourself. Like, work on building healthy friendships, and then you can build a healthy relationship. If you cannot even maintain a healthy friendship with you and your friend, how are you gonna have a healthy relationship? Like, and your relationship with yourself, oh my god, we haven't even touched on that.
That's
your
the
relationship with yourself,
sure.
You're gonna be with yourself 24/7. You gotta be your own best friend. And so actually, let's say that you have a friend who's going through like a toxic relationship. What kind of advice would you give her? Of course, to leave him, but you should also be able to give that advice to yourself. You know what I mean? Because you should see yourself as your best friend. So when you don't know what to do in life, for example, with like a toxic relationship, you should be like, what would my best friend tell me? I just think that no matter what problem you have in your life, you have to take responsibility and deal with it yourself. Because nobody can really save you. I can give you tons of advice to leave that toxic guy, but if you're not understanding yourself, how important it is to not have that guy in your life, you're not gonna understand. You're not gonna leave him. You have to really understand.
The thing is, when you work on yourself, it will also be easier for you to get to the point, okay, I'm ready to leave this guy because he's not good for me. If I haven't worked on myself, I can be in this relationship for so long because I'm just not ready, because I don't think like high enough of myself. I don't put myself in that.
You have to put yourself on a pedestal and not guys.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you cannot like be in a healthy relationship and really like give them time and all that. But it's just that being with them shouldn't compromise you as a person in your life and what you love. You shouldn't change yourself. You should be able to both be completely yourselves and just like.
I just feel like in relationships, like you need to complete each other and you need to be there for each other. Mm-hmm. You need to support each other. You need to be each other's best friends. And
you need to learn from each other.
You need to learn from each other.
So just to like wrap our main points up, be yourself, as Lubna said, like unapologetically. Be your true self. You're gonna attract people who appreciate that version of you. And also imagine if you weren't your true self and these people out here would like miss out on such a beautiful person. Mm-hmm. Don't ever have a person in your life if they're not adding to your life. Friends, family, relationships, if they're not adding to your life,
always put yourself first. Put yourself on that pedestal.
Put yourself on that pedestal. Put all that energy that you're
giving other people, like, your number one priority, not your friends, not your partner, like, not trying to attract anything. Just like focus on yourself.
Put all that energy into you, especially if you're a young woman. Don't romanticize relationships so much. It's gonna come when you're ready and when you've worked on yourself, and it's gonna be beautiful. Right now, you're actually just delaying the process because you're spending too little time on working on yourself and too much time on those people. So if you want to be in a healthy relationship at a young age, you gotta work on yourself at a young age in order to attract that. You got this one life. You choose exactly how you want it to be. Imagine it as a movie, and you're the director, or a video game. Like, you choose.
It's just hard when you're the one in the emotions, but it'll get better.
Yeah, don't be so much, like, I understand that you're sad and so on, like, emotions, and it sucks, but just also have to really realize that you're gonna keep being sad if you don't do something about it. Like, you're sad in that relationship.
You can choose to be sad now, like, long term with that person, or you can, like, choose to get out of it, be sad for a period of time and just get over with it.
Yeah, and don't be so scared of being sad. Like, it's a part of the human experience. I know it's not a nice feeling, but it's gonna go away soon, and that relief you
just,
get,
like, romanticize it when it's there, because it's not all the time that you're gonna
like, enjoy that rebirth, like, really getting to know who you are.
Romanticize the post breakup. Just do everything you can to, like, make this a good, pleasant experience, even though it's never gonna be, but, like, you can make it so much better if you choose to.
And also just start being disgusted by, like, the bare minimum and all those things that we romanticize. Like, him following a girl shouldn't make you want to prove yourself. It should be like, okay, then, like,
why is he following that girl? You know, that's
a problem
for me.
Like,
why following that bitch the fuck? Really quickly, you shouldn't baby your partner. Like, khalas, like, if they want to, like, follow another girl, let him. At some point, you're just gonna be done, and you're gonna be gone, and that's the consequences that the person, or he, for that record, he's gonna live with.
Exactly. Don't bait him. Don't try to teach him it. He should know. You don't want to be.
You're not his mom.
Teach these things. He should know already. Like, you're not his babysitter. Like, please.
No, you're not.
So I completely agree. That was a good point.
Yeah. Guess that was it. I mean,
I feel like we could talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
But that's because we just think it's so important to put emphasis on, because those people you have in your life will literally, like, your life can change by having a bad person in your life. They're gonna drag you down, and it can change for the better by having a good person in your life. Like, people who you have in your life is no joke. Your time is valuable, and you should only spend your valuable time with people who are gonna lift you up.
And remember, like, you're the one who chooses. You can pick and choose, like,
yes, it's a
just remember, you are the prize.
You are the
prize.
It's not the way.
Always. But I think that was the episode for today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We had so many good points, and it was definitely nice to have you here.
Likewise, I'm so thankful for it. I'm the first guest on the podcast.
Yeah, we're so happy with you, and we're so happy that you could be here today.
I'm so happy that you guys let me.
Of course.
Our pleasure, for sure.
Yes. I really hope that you guys listened up, because this is so important.
Thank you for tuning in.
And bye.